where does it even begin to condemn and want to describe this 7 billion and its current count of this Nazism enterprise? Could be enterprise if they got modules and they're fairly established. Recent regular pronouns, they are not to provide words. Recent they're mentions and when they're mentioned, whether phrase and when the phrase is there too. Could be and whether amongst other words and whether amongst others of. Could be a bit relaxed. Probably a suitable word and probable word to mention of. Recent and whether mentioned of and whether mentioned of is probably either whether it's proper of could be of. Recent they're of a bit optional. Recent whether recent phrase they're a bit optional. Kazika whether it's proper to could be of. Maybe that reminded persons, our guys, lots of how putting it. In a way, what is our guys? And whether who is in the our guys, and whether also which entities are in the other guys. Anyone who is not with Nazism. Nazism is a specialty. These cancers are identical. They're readily identifiable. We even got some of the extremist algorithms doing this Banshee cartel of doing this Jewish female, sort of this liary, this dramatism that the word lies can be over, and whether the word lie can be overused of. English words can be a bit problematic with it. It seems to be settled to such a way. And by the way, and whether and those being using this as if there is a species similarity, utterly not. The resultant will keep being one of those passive-aggressive gentlemen and passive-aggressive entities. Those had done a lot swapping the words around, and maybe I should join in. It won't change too much. The Nazis can fuss as much as those want. I'll let them keep on fussing. I won't. While I will do none of it, or whether there'll be minimal. There'll be whether as with recent there, whether also similar phrase, whether there will be none of it. Along the way there will be recruitment. That's perhaps sort of a author's own reference what it reflects on. A lot of Westerners are very ruthless. It doesn't have proportions. It's a bit psychopathic. Whether it's a bit psychopath to mention the word psychopath. And when some entity shouldn't get involved and they're involved, that's problematic. Where does sometimes a lot of the terrorists can do a lot of things right, but they happen to miss the key point, and they keep on doing a lot. It's even necessary for them to participate. For instance, Hitler isn't here. It's not some sort of it's sort of misunderstood. They purposely don't want Hitler here. They want degeneracy. The unstable, misunderstands self doesn't operate correctly. This identical terrorist group. We have plentiful of terrorists around, and we don't have enough regular folks. How irregular folks will be? They will be humble. They will be happy and always joyful. Not so much technical, and not so much this technicality, this complexity, whether also whether reason the end of whether end another, and whether and also the and whether this these lethality moves and these terrorism that became prominent. What's so special about placing words together that could be coherent, but it doesn't adhere, and they are not part of this picture. They're not member of a beautiful team, and whether of a team, and whether of a proper team and they could be not very moral, and also not within the whether reason they're also representation there of not very moral and not within a beautiful picture, whether not within a picture of landscapes, or whether of a beautiful picture there, and whether also a beautiful photo, and whether reason whether also and whether a photo of, and whether reason they are accountable as complete and also. Romania is the Nazism hub, and these anti-European entities went after Hitler after they downed the kings and the queens, whether they downed most of the monarchs of Europe, and then they went after Hitler. They drugged persons viciously with the ego. They hug. In a way, it could be trust loan, right? Whether and the loan fees, whether the loans and the additional, whether the fee charges are, and whether the fees there, and whether the fee charges are getting closer to due date. It spreads patheticness, it spreads uglyism, and that's already a bit of the social contaminant, at least from the mass amount of these Nazis. These are identical, rarely speak to each other, and have different Walmart apparels. It is currently the largest gang in this world. Recent media from whether recent Jason there of whether also and whether recent there of whether recent there of whether recent of whether recent there of could be a bit of change of subject there. Whether literalization could be of whether hearing and whether they're indicating to whether they're indicating of. There's certainly a lot to be done, and we shall continue recently as mentioned, and whether there is and whether it's a bit over right there. It's probably to go with, and whether recently, and whether we shall continue to strive forward, and one day have a victory parade at New York. Whether it will be a name differently, and whether also with another name, and whether also with another, and whether was also with another names. Recently it was minor rather than to also to whether to probable to could be of to probable to also to could be from whether to probable to could be of, and whether reason to probable to could be to and whether of, and whether there to could be of. It's identical, and whether reason this identical cancel blog had hijacked this place. These are bloody, and whether these are user even whether the Gorham's places peace, whether it lets, and whether every other task makes way, whether a lot other stuff and whether other tasks make way for its fuss, to its busy numerous spasm of doing that are doing nothing. These are not even here, right? And whether a moderate amount of not even here. There's plenty of suppose we pick a random human, whether we pick a average human, so sort of the average of the generalization, and whether also generalizations, or whether recent, and whether generalizations, and whether generalization. This entity, whether this humanoid, and whether this human will be obsessive, compulsive, erratic, and gotten there from terrorism, not due to morals. These keep stealing this place. I think it's just as if they invented it. These gotten here from prosecution and being targeted towards beauty, towards peace, towards harmony, whether they're the order of whether their order arrangement, whether the arrangement of whether another order, and whether reason there another order arrangement of whether beauty and towards regular folks. These are hypocrite fighting against activeness. What is in a way the word of activeness, and whether also proactiveness? The opposite is really not a sort of a cousin or a possibility. It's the universal hate group, whether it's the monolithic hate group, and whether it's Nazism. The proposal to be of, and whether also proposal suitable, whether reason there are minor representative, whether the proposal also suitable for the list of the dysfunction on treatments, and additional whether further mentions whether more mentions whether other contents are whether more contents of are imposed on blog and also on the other mediums.